All right, to reiterate, the significance of our proposition is that American primary and secondary schools are too vulnerable to mass shootings. The negative argues that it is worth it to leave students at risk to mass shootings to keep teachers unarmed. This is ridiculous, because while the gun-free zones may prevent a high school student from bringing a handgun to show a friend, a deranged assailant with a conscious objective to commit murder would not change his murderous intentions just because he encounters a no guns allowed sign on the door. And from 1982 to 2018, there have been 16 mass school shootings, all of which with 4 or more fatalities. The argument that civilians with guns do not use the guns to defend themselves is ridiculous, because they do not need to defend themselves because they are armed. And what I mean by that is that criminals target people who are not armed, who look weak, are by themselves. So the likelihood that someone who is armed is looking weak in a situation like that is less likely than someone by themselves, back alley, with little clothing on or whatever. The cost argument that it is too expensive is ridiculous, because there's no price you can put on a kid's safety, I would argue. In fact, in Sydney, Ohio, the district spends about $700,000 on safes. They keep guns in fingerprint-coded safes that are hidden from students and the other teachers. Only specific teachers know where these safes are, as well as bulletproof vests, radios, ammo. And these, in a statement from a New York Times article, it is described as negligible costs for a school district with a $36 million budget. In 2007, the Herald School District in Texas became the first public school to institute a formal policy, including special requirements and trainings for teachers to carry guns. This includes 132 hours of training. This includes psychological exams, rigorous background checks. In Medina County in Texas as well, there's a sign saying that the staff may be armed. It doesn't say they are armed, it says they might be armed. And the purpose of this, the purpose of having super specific people, including principals and custodians and whatever else, is they are specific people who are armed, who know where hidden guns are, out of the reach of children, should an incident occur where they can reach that gun and defend the students. And in Medina at least, and I'm sure in other southern parts of the world, the warnings about armed campuses hasn't seemed to unnerve many parents. They think it's a good idea. Even some of the students in Medina, for example, agree that it's a good idea, and they feel safer knowing that their teachers are there to actually be able to protect them in case their lives are in danger. While legislation for arming teachers is coming up now because of the tragedy in Parkland, in Texas, some public school systems have been quietly arming teachers that undergo specialized training for years, with, like I said, the first one being in 2007 in Herald County, Texas. The state of Florida has recently passed a bill with the school marshal program. And the goal of this program is that 10 marshals, designated teachers in each school, which equates to 37,000 marshals statewide, would include background checks, training, drug testing, and psych exams. And as we already learned from the example in Sydney, Ohio, it is much cheaper to arm a teacher and train a teacher than it is to put a specific security guard, at least one in each school. Does anyone honestly believe that the Columbine murders were deterred in the slightest by the law against bringing guns within 1,000 feet of a school? Could the police have somehow magically been aware of the illegal presence of the firearms and been able to interdict the weapons before the murderers had the opportunity to start their killing spree? Unlikely. But a gun owner pulled over for a traffic violation who is carrying a gun in a car in an otherwise lawful manner to be charged with a federal felony if he happens to be within a mythical gun-free zone. So we have to ask ourselves, is it worth it?